Salim, ma'am, thank you so much for finally being able to make time and being here. And I just want to tell you, this is not going to be a formal introduction because there's so much to say. So I just want you to be a little patient with me while I talk in the beginning, and I'll let you take over. Um, I connected with you over social media, and then I learned through you a little bit about the life that you had built with Salim sir, the man that the world knows as Salim House. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And I just want you to know, and you know this probably, that my generation grew up watching him in Bharat Rangachari's Subha and Shyam Benegal's Bharat Ek Khoj. And the thing that, even though I was very young at that time, the thing that struck me about him was that I always used to feel that he was a force of nature, which was just barely contained in a human body. And I used to feel very angry when I grew up that this energy, this force was being misappropriated by Hindi filmmakers in villainous roles. And it used to make me angry. But then through you and your presence on social media, I realized that he hadn't spent his life being angry, that he had built a beautiful life with you, raised two beautiful children, started Phoenix Players, a theater company, and he had become a martial artist. And it was, a revelation for me. And a few months after he passed, when I spoke to you, that phone call turned out to be one of the most profound experiences of my life because of your voice and the way you spoke and the way you conveyed his presence even in his absence. It just blew my mind away. And I thank you for that experience. And I just wanted to ask you, how are you this present? And because you told me something I've never forgotten. You said that it's the job, it's the responsibility of every human to reflect light, to reflect hope and beauty. How have you become this person, so reflective, so pure, and so connected to him even today?
A bit difficult to say how I have become, or what you see in me is what I reflect you. So I can't really say that I have become something, but definitely there is an awareness as a human being. And living with Salim for those 48 years that I have known him, and been married to him, of course, since 1980. And the theater company was started in 1984, just 4 years, when Athena was about 3 years. So then we started our theater company. It's been a lovely, lovely journey. And the journey continues because his presence, like you said, Salim wasn't just a person only. He contained the whole universe inside him. He was just a lot of love. He was not afraid of anybody or anything, or speaking his mind about things, or saying things about the society, which it's a responsibility of an artist to be able to reflect and not try to please the politicians, or please, because an artist sees a lot more that there is, like especially Salim ji. He used to see in us as actors much more than we could imagine ourselves. We couldn't, the kind of actors that we had, even myself for that matter, he made us see things, he made us do things that we thought we were never capable of. And to be able to do that, you have to, like you say, there is so much of force inside you, there's so much of love, and you're able to see an oasis in a desert. You're able to see the rain in the desert. that's the kind of thing you're not afraid of visualizing something. This is my state and that's all I am. He'll just say, stand up. And I'd say, no, I can't do it. I'm not capable. I don't think I can. I mean, I give up. Say, give up. Yeah. No, stand up. Start all over again. Start a clean slate. You're a new person now. You're not the same person. That's dead and gone. I'm not interested in the person who couldn't do it, can't do it. You can. And that was the thing with all the actors that we worked with. And we never allowed anything to sort of come in our way, especially things like you have to bring up children and you have to have your own, day-to-day problems and all that. He would say, just don't make excuses about them. I'm not well, or I'm not this, and this can't happen. So he really pushed you beyond your limits. And you felt you could, you are capable.
Right.
Because he believed that you are. And his belief and his visualization of things was so strong that you just, yes, I can fight. You can bring a bull, anything, tiger. I'm capable. He made you feel like that.
You met him in FTI, right?
Yeah.
And do you have any memory of that first moment when you saw him, and what was it that you felt, and how did this relationship grow? And I'm it's so futile to ask such a question, but I have to, because you come from different faiths. So was there any kind of a struggle or opposition? Tell me a little bit about those years.
It was love at first fright. 1st August, it's coming now. It's celebrated because he believed in celebrating everything. Even death is a celebration. So I had come from Africa, Zambia, and I met him in the evening. All the students would collect under the wisdom tree in the evenings. And it was important to rag the new students and all that. So the Farsi salams of the institute and the respect for the seniors and all that. So he saw I was a little scared and looking at everybody and, being asked very uncomfortable questions by people, the senior students, and they were like ragging me, but it was all in fun. Nobody really insulted or anything, but he saw that. So he just took me aside very quietly, and then he started talking to me. Where are you from? What happened? And it looked as if he was ragging me, but he wasn't. He gained, so that was the first moment. And on 1st August 1974, when I came from Africa, I was 18.
How did this connection grow? How did you guys?
We were separated for about 3 years because my parents felt I was too young and, I didn't know what I wanted, and maybe it was for the best. So for 3 years, I was away back in Africa and in UK. I went back to Africa. Then my father said that acting theek hai Anita, abhi tumko kuch aur karna padega, because you have to be capable. And Dad was a self-made man, and he worked all his life. He didn't come from any great rich family, nor did Salim's parents or anybody. So we are all working people basically. And Salim ji always called himself a Dalit. If you asked him about his caste or anything, he was very proud of talking like that. This is the way it was. And then I was very clear I wanted to get back to him. And I was actually not sure why I wanted to get back to him and why I loved him so much. But I knew that I loved him, and actually I married the art. I didn't marry the artist.
That's so beautiful.
Because everything together was, he was the art for me. He introduced me to a lot of lovely things, painters, sculptors, read about this, read about that. 7, 8 languages he could talk in, and paint so beautifully, and do calligraphy so well, and things like, of course, martial arts. He got a very high degree, and he lived like a martial artist. He was living with death all the time, never afraid to die. And he would cook almost every second day at home. So I've never sort of felt, he says, मैंने रोटी बनाने के लिए आपसे शादी नहीं की है, which is true, because he never sort of waited के अभी अनीता आएगी खाना बनाएगी, then I will eat. The food was always there, it was ready. It's very difficult to say, where Salim starts and where Anita starts. It's just one taking over from the other. A great game going on all the time. Lots of tangles and fights and anger and jealousies from my side, not from his, because he's been very mature about human relationships. His mind was very vast. And from my side, it took me a long, long time to understand. By the time you're so old that it doesn't really matter. But that compassion, that love, that takes a long, long time to sort of enter you.
You said something which was very beautiful on that phone call that I'll never forget in my life. You said that he taught you to be aware and to care. Just share a bit why you said that to me.
A very caring person. I mean, he could feel the pain of inanimate things as well. He would say, "Ye bedsheet kya bol raha hai?" I mean, it's so everything had to be good because he wouldn't spare himself. So I became like that because I didn't want him to be doing all the time, So in the morning, I will get up, go into the kitchen, everything is spick and span, it's been cleaned well. I mean, he would just go and do it. He wouldn't say, "Why haven't you done it?" That's the difference. When you live with a master, he leads by example. And not just one night, every night, just making sure everything is sort of energized, and alive. And it's the look. All we need is to care. All we need is the touch. I know this beautiful money plant is there. And you look at it and you feel happy. It's not just kept for show and forgotten about. Your paintings, your food that you eat, then naturally that care comes. I mean, even his touch, I was thinking today, but there is so much of gentleness. I mean, he felt that I'm intruding into your space. There was awareness, He would take time. And what was wonderful was that he never made me dependent on him. If ever I was dependent, it was because I wanted to be dependent. Because there's so much of aura around him. There's a forbidding quality, You can't just enter like that, You're always cautious. You're always aware. And it's the same for him. He's aware of you. He's not just entering, or he'll take his time. There's so much of, even as a young man, not just because, I'm not talking of the years, I mean, the recent years as such, but the early years as well. As a person, he was very, very sensitive, extremely sensitive, being a July born, 1st July born, very, very sensitive, almost like crab, all the tenderness, everything, and very, very sensitive and caring. Yeah, he just taught me how to care. What is this thing saying? Are you able to hear? Are you able to see? And same with the actors too. He would talk to them and say, okay, you have to learn to see properly. You can't just say, dekh liya bas. You know, be aware, be caring, be alive. Because this moment is not going to come again. You have to be alive at all times in your life and make the most of your life, which he did. He led many lives in one lifetime. Many lives. So that was another thing which really sort of, when you see that, yeah. And for me, it was like, you know, when he wasn't at home, I'd like to go and sit in his chair and feel, and it's literally like you know, you're trying to sit in the boss's chair when you're, one day I'll be there kind of thing. But it was also a kind of closeness that you feel with the person, you know.
Right.
And without him marking anything or slotting anything, his space was sacred. He had his own time for doing things. He didn't want to be this, never really get angry if you intruded into his work or his time or his, he was very giving and very sharing. But you could see that, you know, I want to be left alone. I'm happy being alone.
Both of you
He
have.
was not lonely, alone. He was happy being alone. Sorry. Yeah.
No. Because when we spoke last, you also mentioned how there was certain affinity with Sufi philosophy, with Rumi, and this Sufi path at some point became a very important aspect of your lives. And how did that happen?
He, right from childhood, he has been a healer. And there are lots of things that I would never know about him. And after a point, I didn't even want to know because I wanted to leave him in his space. A Sufi is born. You can't become a Sufi. And the other thing is also the thing of conversion. You were talking about the intercaste marriage and all that. So he has never asked me to convert into Islam or anything. It's just my love for the religion, my love. I don't stop being a Hindu because I embrace Islam or I embrace Christianity. I become bigger if I embrace all the religions. And he didn't believe in any conversion. So he said, there's only one kind of conversion. That's from being an idiot to being an intelligent person, being knowledgeable. I won't say educated, because educated people need not be knowledgeable. So it's the light. It's the light in the human being. And the fact that so much, I wouldn't say it's only one religion, because it is so many things. There's so much of Buddhism he knew, and he knew Reiki, and he could heal in many different ways. And it was like the pain of the country that was always there, even right from his first film. If you see Surya with Vinod Khanna, where he plays a farmer and he goes to Amrish Puri's house and he's yelled at and all that. So he's very angry. So he takes his dirty feet and rubs it on his, carpet. And he's very, very angry, and he does it as a dance. And each movement is so, it's like all the Dalits that are talking in that movement of rubbing the thing.
There's a lot that you have shared with him, but as you said, 1st July was his birthday, and 22nd June, I think, was the 38th anniversary of Phoenix Place.
Phoenix.
Do you remember how it was started? How did you first think about it, and what was the journey like? I mean, you've spoken about how he dealt with actors, but the initial years when you just put it together, what was that journey like?
He had been doing a lot of theater in his school, college, got a lot of awards, everything. And then, of course, the FTII stint, and then getting back, came to Bombay, couldn't take Bombay and the difficulties here for a year or so. Then he went back and I went to Africa. And then he did work with the Madras players in Chennai, and did shows with them, did a bit of television work there, odd jobs. And but he always had a dream, one day I will start my theatre company. So when I came back, when I was in London, I told you, my dad said that you have to do something. So I went and did a secretarial course there, pitman's course, just so that I can get a job and, be able to earn something. So he said, if you want to go back to India, then you will have to have some backup plan so you can earn your own living. So then I did that course and I came back, but I did the job for about a couple of months. And in Chennai also, I did a secretarial job for some time. But our dream was together to form our own company, have our own set of people. And then when we came to Bombay, my parents helped us for about 7-8 years to stay in their house with Athena. And we started our theatre company. We rehearsed in the flat where we stayed in Juhu. And we launched our company in 84. Yeah.
Legacy of Phoenix players. How would you like to take it forward? How do you foresee it in the years to come?
Phoenix always rises, ashes, and then it rises. And we've had many such risings. We've had many problems, actors backing out, actors not being there, and, and doubling up for those people doing things. It's on. Aryama is there. I am there. The core company was Salim and I, and now it's Aryama also was with us. He's also performed. And then there are lots of people who are keen to learn, because theater is not the kind of theater we do. It doesn't pay, but there's a lot of learning, and because that teaching will go on for me. I have been teaching since 84, from the time we started our theater company. So I would like to carry on with that. Maybe with the Kunti Nishadin of Mahashweta Devi and Panchakanya, most of it was put together by me. It was a solo act, but it was put together by me. Of course, he helped me in terms of, bits and pieces here, corrections or whatever you might call it, suggestions, which I took. I didn't refuse. I didn't want to be like, nay, make up, not like that, which I incorporated in the performances. I'd like to work, do more plays, especially I want to, reality is not something very nice. Fantasy is more my trip. Lots of fun, enjoying lovely stories to be told.
Right.
And more for children, because there's not too much of good entertainment for children.
Yeah.
So especially you see them, they're already sort of grown up, they forget their childhood. And you see the elders also, they really don't want to get back. And that is the best time, because there is a child within you all the time.
Right.
Till you till you die. Um, there is a child within you. So that child has to be nurtured well, because that then only you still have the innocence to sort of that one moment of crying and that getting into laughter. That's still, the face is still wet with tears, but they're laughing. But it's very difficult to make an adult say that, don't cry anymore. No, I'll take my time. I'm still. So, I mean, life was fun with Salim. Not a one single sad moment. He was always living in the earth, he was always living there. He was never really sort of afraid to fly. He was never afraid to get into water, anything. I mean, very elemental kind of a person. Yeah, totally. And that's why he could do his martial arts so well. He could do he was so graceful. He could put a woman to shame because he was so gentle and so tender. And I mean, he danced so beautifully. Nobody knows about his dance.
You've kept your inner child alive as well, and you
I
really,
don't think I ever became an adult.
yeah, and it's wonderful. Like that's the reason why I loved speaking to you that day, and so many, like, this beautiful energy that I felt when I was talking to you. I broke down and you were consoling me, and that was absolutely bizarre. And one final question I want to ask you. You said that what is happening in the country weighed him, but he chose not to be weighed down by it and to, you know, continue to grow through his art, through his life. Um, did he ever share any of those moments with you when he felt a little gray about what is happening?
Oh, yes, all the time. But some people don't really, it's not necessary for everybody to take out morchas and julus and all that kind of thing. That's what I was telling my daughter. She asked me, she says, so what does the oracle have to say about the country? How is it going to? I said, I'm not an oracle, but I really feel it's nothing to do with the politicians or the rich people. We don't care. The majority starts to feel they're responsible and it is their country and nobody is ruling them, then things will be fine. When he was at home, he kept it like a heaven. Everything had to be in its place. I mean, that's what we can do. We are responsible people. When I see a stone on the road, I go and remove it. I don't wait somebody else is going to remove it. Or that story, where a lot of treasure is found underneath. No, I just go and remove it because I feel somebody else will not get hurt.
Yeah, that sense of accountability has to come.
Yeah, it's your responsibility. It's not the religion. It's not the money. And if you do your work, everything else will be fine. Everything will fall into place.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. And there are no words, absolutely none, to be able to sum up what you have given me today and how much you have trusted me with so many precious memories. And there's nothing I can say to kind of thank you for the generosity you have shown me and the warmth you have shown me. I just want to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Reema, and if you liked what you just saw, then do like and subscribe, because remember, this is a safe space for people to talk, share their stories, to hear each other, and basically make some time in their busy lives for unboxed conversations.